Amy Goldsmith, New Jersey State Director of Clean Water Action. Next on Enviro Close-Up. The Trump administration is involved in a full-scale attack on the environment. Amy Goldsmith, New Jersey State Director of Clean Water Action. The attack on the environment by the Trump administration. Your views on it, what's happening?
Well, Clean Water Action is sort of at the front line on a number of different issues. We work on water, but energy, like nuclear power issues. Basically what the EPA and under the leadership of Pruitt is basically doing everything that they can to dismantle the regulations, to not enforce the regulations, to take whatever science was built up within the agency and either deep six it, put it in a closet, lock the door on science, so that decisions that are made are not made on the basis of science and fact, but are made on the basis of favors, polluters, not doing the enforcement that needs to be done, trying to take away the money from the agency that's so desperately needed to do the groundwork in the states, in the communities. Without the resources of the state and the federal government working in partnership with each other, they can't do the work to protect ourselves from Superfund sites, from radiation poisoning, from working together with agencies to make sure the work is done. And for the state of New Jersey is just one example of where if the DEP budget is not met with federal dollars, the State Department of Environmental Protection basically loses half of its funding. The other half of its funding comes from the federal government and comes from the EPA, from a variety of grants and other programs. So if they don't actually administer those programs and they don't actually put that money in the budget, the states can't do the work that needs to be done because they don't have those matching dollars.
What will this mean, essentially the destruction of EPA for the health of people in New Jersey, for the health, the lives of people all over the United States?
Well, New Jersey has the most number of Superfund sites, over 100 Superfund sites. These are the most toxic waste sites in the nation. But many other states have the same problem. It's just they haven't discovered the problems yet. They don't have the resources to discover them. But also, a lot of work has been done by my organization and others to protect our drinking water, to protect us from coal ash, from power plants. And by not doing those things, we end up having more diesel pollution on our streets. We don't take the measures we need to at our ports. We end up with contaminated drinking water. And the thing about pollution is that we don't have little flags in our body that tells us, oh, we're sick, or we got cancer, or we have asthma because of this, that, or the other thing. And that's the beauty of the beast. That's the beauty of pollution, right? You don't have flags unless you have asbestosis. You get white lung disease from that. Most cancers and other things are, unidentifiable. And it's the cumulative impact of what we experience day in and day out. And if you live in a lower income community, you live in a community of color, with even less resources, your impact is even greater. And there's no end in sight, and there's no remedy for them if, in fact, government is not looking out for us and protecting us against polluters.
What should people do about Trump and Pruitt and Zinke and this cast of characters?
Well, even though the administration in Washington is trying to undo all of these things, the laws have not all been undone. You can't do it like that and snap your finger and all of a sudden these regulations disappear. There actually is a process. It takes several years. So in some cases, there are organizations that are working with community groups to sue the federal government to stop them. In some cases, it's states that are joining together to stop the federal government from undoing the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, and other things. And the other thing is there are lots of people working at their local level, whether it's a big city like New York City or a little town like my town. They're adopting their own policies. They're going to, address climate change at the local level if they can't get the federal government to do it. The other thing is that Congress, we could flip the House in Congress if people actually focus their energy on races and places around the country, and if we could actually have Congress tempering the White House, it would make a difference. And so people need to get out to vote, people need to take action, people need to do whatever they can to pass the ordinances and policies that need to be done at the local and the state level when the federal government is walking the wrong way.
With Trump and Pruitt and these other scoundrels, are they ignorant or are they corrupt or both?
Well, I think they're very deliberate. I think they've been planning this out for a long time. I can't speak for Trump, but Pruitt has a long history of suing the EPA on anything that he can in order to undo the laws that control, fossil fuel industry. And so I think it's a well thought out strategy to try and undo government and to undo, the rules and regulations that do protect us. There is a role for government, and the role for government is to protect our health and the environment and protect us from, what's going to come. It's climate change. It's already here.
There's much to do, and Clean Water Action is doing it. I'm Karl Grossman.